So anyone who has worked in an office in Hawaii knows that office pastries are wonderful. There have been times when I didn't eat breakfast and someone miraculously brings a box of pastries to save the day. And so I wanted to share 5 local pastries that I think are the best to bring to the office. Also, I'm not talking about the tastiest pastries that are trendy and photographed really nicely. I'm talking about the pastries that I think local people actually like and can afford, and they secretly go back to their desk to stuff their face because the baga just tastes good. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where they lick their fingers and they wish they could have more, but cannot because not enough for seconds for everybody. Oh, you mean that's just me? The first is Malasadas. Malasadas are probably the top tier in office pastries, and they're definitely the most popular. I mean, these fried balls of dough covered in sugar are relatively cheap and they're very tasty. But just a warning, they make plenty mess because the sugar will fall all over with every single bite. In terms of where I would buy malasadas, it would be Pipeline. It's just the best in my humble opinion. By the way, if you go there, you should also pick up one of those cake bombs. That's pretty good. But really, wherever you pick up malasadas, you can't go wrong. Now, just as an aside and a Zippy's brand ambassador, I have to mention the Mochizada from Zippy's, which I happen to have right here. Hold on. You see this? Now, this is a variation of a malasada because it has a chewy mochi filling. I don't know what it is, but it just tastes really good. It's my second favorite pastry at Zippy's. Of course, pumpkin pie being number 1 by a long shot, but this is definitely number 2. And I don't know why this doesn't get more attention. I mean, trust me, it is good. And every time I brought this to the office, wow, people want more. All right, the second pastry I recommend is Manapua. To me, that is Hawaii's ultimate breakfast sandwich. Forget about breakfast wraps. For Manapua, you got your pork inside a bun. It's steam versus bake. I prefer steam, but I know people, they like baked. But if you buy a dozen or so Manapuas for your coworkers, guarantee you're gonna be getting a lot of favors from them. For Manapuas, there's a lot of places that you can go to buy, but I would recommend Chanhua Cam. Their Manapuas are large and they got a lot of different variety if you're into that. For me, I just like the char siu filling. It's nice and simple. Okay, a little bit side rant here. And I don't want this to come across as being ungrateful because anytime anyone ever brings pastries into the office, especially Manapua, I mean, I really like it. But can we just keep it maybe simple the next time you bring Manapua? You know, because if you get too much of a variety and it's too fancy, you know, I'm standing there and I'm trying to read the symbols on the Manapua because they stamp it with different colors and shapes. And, you know, I'm trying to figure out which one is which. You know, is it chicken? Is it spicy? Is it vegetarian? You know, is it the plain one? Maybe some people can decipher and tell what symbol is what, but you know, you just end up trying to figure out what is what and just chancing them. And I don't really want to have to look at a legend for symbols. I mean, it's not a map. Just way too complicated and the thing smudges anyway. So just saying. Okay, side rant over. Now, Manapuas tend to go fast in the office, so you want to make sure that you go and get yours. And don't forget, peel the bottom paper, because I've forgotten several times and I took bites into it, and yeah, it's not good to have paper in the mouth. The next pastry is poi donuts. Whether they come in malasada form or mochi donut form, I mean, you're gonna recognize these because of the light purple color inside. Really sweet, very tasty. I will say that I'm not a huge fan of poi, although I love taro chips, but I do like poi donuts, especially the mochi donuts with the little balls on top. And they're so chewy and I don't know what it is, they're so good. Now there's a few places that make them, but we usually go to Liliha Bakery. It's so easy just to pick up a dozen or so, and occasionally they actually do have sales, so you gotta be on the lookout for that. But just make sure you don't eat them all before you go to the office, you know, make sure you share. The next pastry is cream puffs, and these are the dessert pastry. Always a winner, especially if you get the Cocoa Puff version. They're very light, and they're filled with like fancy chocolate. It's also sometimes challenging to take clean bites because you take a bite and sometimes the filling explodes and goes out the back or the sides, and you know, it's even more messy, but it's okay, it's worth it. Now I'll admit, I'm one of the guys that scrapes off the chantilly off the top. You know, it's just sometimes it can be a little bit too sweet. And the thing is, if you say Cocoa Puff in Hawaii, pretty much everyone knows you're talking about Liha Bakery, although there are other places that you can go and buy them as well, but we usually go to Liha Bakery. Like I said, this is like a dessert pastry in my opinion, but always a winner. And the last pastry I'd recommend are croissant bites. And you might be asking yourself, what is a croissant bite? And I never heard about these either. Never had them when I was growing up, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention them because, yeah, they're pretty good. These are actually kind of hard to describe other than saying they're like a croissant that's fried like a donut and then chopped up into like bite-sized donut hole looking pieces. As with a lot of food in Hawaii, we heard about these through word of mouth and tried some at the beach one time, and my wife really liked them, and so of course, you know, we had to go back and buy some more. Now, I don't know a lot of places that make these regularly, but where we went was this place called Donut King here on Oahu. They got other pastries, but to me, that one is by far the best. It's a nice variation on a snack-sized little office pastry that I think people will really like. And so these are my recommendations and thoughts about local pastries to bring to the office, in case you want to bring some. I've always thought that it's nice to bring food into the office every now and then. I know kind of expensive sometimes, but you know, bringing in something and sharing, I think it just builds that office camaraderie, and it's just a nice thing to do. It may not even be for the office. You could bring it for your custodians, you could bring it for security, you can just bring it for the secretaries or administrative assistants, just to let them know that you recognize them and that you appreciate them. And when people do bring pastries or snacks in the office here, I'm always appreciative. And while this list of pastries I mentioned may not be considered the best or trendy, I think they're popular enough that most people enjoy them. And so if you're trying to figure out what to bring to the office, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these choices. So thanks for watching, and aloha.